What up, y'all, and welcome to Michigan International Speedway for the 14th race of the 2023 FBRL Napa Truck Series season. Luke Martin is on pole for the third time this year, getting his 7th career pole in Truck Series history, breaking the time once again with Jordan Fisher, who is back in the field here this afternoon a month earlier than expected. He starts in row 3 next to Nelson Reeves. Next to Luke Martin in row 1 is Edward Siemba. Between those two rows in row 2 is Tib Foster and AJ Jones. Coyote Autosport has won the last two races with Jones and Brock. Can they make it 3 in a row today? Malik Nevins and Ace Wild sit in row 4. Wild, the new points leader, 10 points over Luke Martin. And rounding out the top 10 is Eric DeMax and Ryan Griffin. Hometown driver there in the number 10 gets the start inside the top 10. To go through the rest of the starting lineup, Satan Davidson in the 29 this week. Vargas was in it 2 weeks ago at New Zealand. Cody Goforth back in the 84. Great qualifying effort for the 23 of Blake Warren. Anthony Marchese also in the field for the part-time effort out of Red Bull Racing. Lane Sanders in one of what'll be 2 starts for Savage Racing in the 87. So Michael Miller taking the weekend off. To see Jeff James making the field as we get deeper into the pack. So Coyote Autosport have the momentum on their side. Jones sits third in the points, 24 back of Wild, as does William Brock. So we'll have to see what Coyote Autosport can do to continue to close the gap. Also got Peter Onjak in the 39, James Ellison running a special scheme in the 56. But Brock did have a poor qualifying effort. He will have to make his way up towards the front of the field from the rear. And it's likely going to be tough. This track is predominantly better. You're better off if you're on the outside line. But you can make passes on the inside, but it is tough. And you need to get a lot of momentum going. So in the early going, riding the top side is probably going to be the way to the front of the field. Making the race on provisionals, you got Bradley Ream, new driver in the 08 for Easy Racing, Angel Gutierrez, Sean Ard, and then Nick Breeding makes it on a provisional in the part-time 76. Let's go trackside for the command, the fire engines.
Drivers, start your engine!
You can hear the front. As always, the drivers that failed to qualify will scroll across the top of the screen. I'm just going to read them out because there's so few of them with the reduced entry list this week. Jacques Anderson, Al Bunch, Pedro Ivo Lucas, Henry Thomas, Cement Oskin, Mac Johnson, and Eric Monaco failed to qualify for today's race. Forgot to mention at the rear of the field, qualifying in on speed was Seth Cole for Bishop Family Racing, so it's the team's debut race for the season. And it also makes it Seth Cole's debut, so Seth Cole and Angel Gutierrez making their first start of the year here. 70-lap affair here at Michigan. 85-degree day with a 7-mile-an-hour wind coming from the northeast. Fuel mileage is going to be about 22 to 25 laps, and the tire wear will get upwards of 3 seconds. So in the early going, these trucks are going to be almost flat out around the racetrack, but tire wear will be heavy, and you will see the drivers have to lift eventually. That's when passing on the inside will likely become more prominent. Green flag is out. Luke Martin leads them to the green for the 3rd time this year. Nelson Reeves wasting no time from 5th place. Him and Malik Nevins going on the inside line, looking to take their run by the 28 of Luke Martin. Reeves up even side by side with Luke into turn 3. These trucks will reach upwards of 200 mile an hour down into turn 1. Off turn 4, give the run to the 28 and the 80, and Luke Martin leads the first lap of the race. So as you can see already, big run from the outside line. Look at Tip Foster going to split the middle. Now Nevin's looking to make it 4 wide for second place, but he can't get the grip down there on the way bottom. Nevins checks up. That puts Reeves, Foster, and Siemba 3 wide. Now Siemba will clear the two of them into turn 3. Luke Martin clear single file in the race lead. Siemba looking to follow him. And the top 2 are single file. Siemba with a run's going to make a move for the race lead here. Behind them, 3 wide is Reeves, AJ Jones, and Foster, bottom to top. AJ Jones is actually going to clear Tip Foster from the middle. And with the run, will clear Nelson Reeves. Now AJ Jones to the outside of Siemba. Now Siemba looking to get to the inside of Luke Martin. They're 2 by 2 by 2. Can Siemba complete the pass? It looks like it's going to be hard to pass. AJ Jones will take his run to the middle and make it 3 wide for the race lead. Jones sends it deep into the middle of the corner. AJ Jones with the edge off of turn 2. Mentioned Jordan Fisher back in the 6 for Martin Motorsports, currently inside the top 10. Vince Freeze drove that truck for the last couple of months while Fisher recovered from injury. And Fisher made a miraculous recovery, coming back a month earlier than expected. We didn't think we were going to see Fisher until Chicagoland. But Fisher returns 3 races early. Currently keeping that truck clean and running inside the top 10. Almost 3 wide for the race lead. Once again, that's Stewie Schramm, the 3rd on the inside line, looking to make a move on Siemba and Luke Martin. Siemba has a nose on Luke going into turn 3. And Siemba is going to be clear here off of turn 4. First lead change of the race put Edward Siemba to the top of the board. It's now Luke Martin down to second place, fighting against Stewie Schramm the 3rd. Look at this, both of the Team Velocity trucks inside the top 5 right now with Schramm and Reeves. Was announced over the week. Dewey Schramm III will be going back to the Hardee's National Series to drive for Team Velocity's new Hardee's National Series program. Team Velocity is shutting down shop in the Napa Truck Series to focus on Sony Cup and Hardee's National. Nelson Reeves will be driving for Revolution Racing next year. So Reeves will remain in the Truck Series and Schramm will take another stab at the Hardee's Series. They're currently 3 wide by 3 wide behind Edward Siemba, the race leader. It is just like a super speedway pack back here. And that's letting Siemba hold his lead despite the draft these drivers are getting from his truck. Luke Martin is in a velocity sandwich. Martin will clear up in front of Schramm as Nevins is unable to stick it in the middle. That's going to hold up Nevins and Saden Davidson. As now Reeves side by side with Luke Martin. Just about 2/5 of the way through this run. And the high side still dominant. Luke Martin clearing Reeves for second place. Well, it is not the debut Angel Gutierrez wanted. He has lost touch with the main pack, as has the 98 of Seth Cole. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to go from the rear of the field towards the front. See Bradley Ream, Ben McDonald. And North Border started the year off decent, but they have really started to lack compared to other teams on the development side. McDonald will be driving for Volunteer Motorsports next year as that team becomes a part of the Mitsubishi program. So McDonald likely going to see an even better sophomore year versus what typically happens to drivers is the sophomore slump, as McDonald uses the outside line in the draft to get by Aiden Carlton. Peter Onjak not having a good race here for Revolution Racing, currently in 32nd place. To see if Onjak can maybe use some strategy to get back going forward. Aiden Smith for Nova Sport. Nova Sport recently shut down the 71 of Toby Christie and terminated him from the team. So now this is just a one-truck team full-time, with the part-time truck of Jeff James also being in the field. How about Nick Breeding has driven up to 28th place from last after having to use a provisional to make a field. Meanwhile, Ace Wild has dropped from his top 10 starting spot to outside of the top 20. William Brock currently looking to get inside the points. He's got the fastest lap of the race, a 37.710. Fastest lap in practice was set by Bob Burns, a 37.734. So pretty much right on the dot to practice draft laps. As Burns also back here in the mid-pack with him. Cody Goforth, James Ellison looking to get just inside the top 20 here. Lane Sanders in the 87. Jeff James in the 04 as mentioned in this race. So we'll move back forward towards the top 10. Ryan Griffin, Jordan Fisher, Tib Foster, they have all fallen outside of the top 10 as they are borderline 4 wide right here in front of them. Blaze McKinney having a pretty good race for Freeze Racing Team. He's driven up inside the top 10. As has Eric DeMax, Bradley Bishop Jr., and Saden Davidson, as now Davidson is going to clear into second place. And he's going to start to mount a charge on Edward Siemba. And this 29 truck did win back at the Nashville Fairgrounds with James Silverfox and has looked speedy despite being the team's basically R&D truck in a way. And it just shows how strong Silverfox Motorsports has become, that their third truck can still come up here and contend for wins. Meanwhile, the 82 of Austin Rogers is in 20th, but this team will have 2 trucks once again next year, and it'll be the 6 of Luke Martin and the 28 of Austin Rogers, so we'll have to see if downsizing the program helps that second truck out even more. Edward Siemba is under fire for the race lead from Saden Davidson, and Luke Martin has made it back up to second place as well, right behind the 80. Luke now side by side with Davidson for second place. See, the back half of the pack has really started to string out from the tire wear and all that talent and whatnot differences back there in the back of the field. Luke Martin's got a pretty good run here on Edward Siemba. He's going to make a move to his inside off of turn 4. Those moves generally don't work, but Luke Martin has the momentum still on his side. Can Luke take the race lead back here through 1 and 2? Or will Siemba get the run? Siemba might get a run here, but Luke Martin is about clear. He could have pulled up there, but chose not to. Now Siemba with the run and help from Saden Davidson. Luke is going to throw his truck into turn 3, and he is making it stick. Siemba's getting tight and move Luke Martin back to the race lead here, coming to the completion of lap 20. Hearing pit stops are slated to begin this time by now. It is early to pit on lap 22, but you can stretch it 24 laps on your second and third stints, so you can make this race on a 2-stop. And it looks like Luke Martin will lead the first group down. Siemba, Davidson, Schramm, AJ Jones, and many, many others will come down pit road. Likely will be 4 tires and fuel. So while Luke leads that group down, a good chunk of trucks elects to stay out, and those trucks are led by Bradley Bishop Jr. Have to believe that anyone who's on the inside line here is committed to pitting and everyone else will stay out, and that appears to be the case. McKinney, Ellison, and Griffin will stay on the racetrack, and Bradley Bishop Jr. leads down the Max, Fisher, Jeff James, Nevins, and more. It's up ahead. Terrible pit stop for Tibb, Foster, Ace Wild, Nelson Reeves, all at the rear of the first group. Luke Martin, even with a bad pit stop, he's going to lose a spot to Cody Goforth. Meanwhile, Dewey Schramm the third, William Brock, and Saden Davidson lead him out behind Edward Siemba. Man, William Brock had a heck of a pit stop to get up to third. He came in 9th out of the group and made it up to third. Wow, that's an amazing pit stop by Coyote Autosport. See the second group coming out now. Looks like Jordan Fisher suffering on pit road as well. Nick Breeding with a great pit stop though. Bradley Bishop Jr. going to lead this group out. He's got the Max, Jeff James, Breeding, and Huck Davis, the top 5 from his cycle. So not seeing a huge gain of time for those top 3 from the first group, as Ellison will lead out the third and final group of himself, McKinney, and Griffin. See top 3 go by. BBJ and the Max will go by. Ellison, McKinney, and Griffin I think are going to be in a pretty good spot here too. This track is very draft oriented, and everyone still seems to have a really good piece of someone's draft. So things are looking good for the 3 that elected to stretch it to lap 24. Saden Davidson is the current race leader, but the 8 of Eric the Max has really started to close in on the top 3. Now remember, the Max pit second time by, so his tires have a 1-lap advantage on the top 3. He's going to pull right to the outside of William Brock, clear the 1. Going into the corner now, Siemba moved up to the top. The Max with a huge run on his inside. And now a draft from the 1 of William Brock. The Max will just about clear Siemba before turn 1. And this 8 truck is hauling. We have not seen a lot of pace out of the number 8 Breeding Enterprises machine this year, but the pace has shown up here at Michigan, and Eric the Max is going for the race lead on the 29 of Davidson. Even down the back straightaway, and now the Max clears Davidson through 3 and 4, and there's a new race leader in the Irish Hills of Michigan, and it's the Starcom Fiber number 8 machine of Eric the Max. Seeing Bradley Bishop Jr. also up here in this top 5 pack with a bit of a tire advantage, and also James Ellison has closed up on these leaders. Chevrolet's really been suffering again this year. Could today be the day they get it back in victory lane? They have not won in over a year now, dating back to Kansas last year, where the Max somewhat lucked into a win after Jesse Turner had the pit coming to the white flag. The Max leads again now, but he is driving a Ram. So we see James Ellison, Jeff James, top of the Chevrolets. Leach drivers from the Hardee's National Series at that. And Jeff James, man, he has had an amazing season in Hardee's for Curtis Racing. And he is knocking on the door of maybe leading this thing here at Michigan. Technically, the home track of Jeff James in the United States is this track, but James a Canadian, so the home away from home for the number 04 Miller Lite Chevy. Things are not going well for the points leader of Ace Wild. Currently running in 31st place. He's trying to move forward along with Jordan Fisher and his teammate Tib Foster. Foster has made it up to 27th, but it's been a tough climb for everyone that's back here. You can see Bob Burns back here, Malik Nevins, who we saw at the front of the field earlier, just outside of the top 20, trying to get up to the top 20 so they can get points. And they're still kind of drafting up to the lead pack at the same time, as the draft train is so long. And that is making passing difficult as well. But a long way to go and another pit stop to come. Things are not over for these drivers just yet. Great run going here for Huck Davis, who has a huge run on the outside, almost 4 wide there for a moment. Davis was 7th at the start-finish line. He's going to be 4th off of turn 2. It's been a weird season for Huck Davis. Started the year in the Hardee's National Series for Turner Performance Racing. Didn't make really any races. Didn't see good runs either. Decided to dip. Turner shut the car down. And Huck landed a ride with Monster Energy Racing in what was going to be a 3rd truck at the beginning of the year. Huck started racing, got pole right away at the Nashville Fairgrounds. But it has been a weird season for Huck down here in the Napa Truck Series as well. He's been plagued by bad luck, constantly getting wrecked or having mechanical issues. Despite that, Huck has earned 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s through 10 starts. And he has an average starting position of 10th. So Huck started, I believe, 14th here today. But he has been the best Monster Energy Racing Ram on pace. A little bit better than Tib Foster. Ace Wild just has not had anything here today. Even before the bad pit stop, that 30 truck did not look fast. And with Luke Martin up here in the top 5, we could see Martin go right back to the points lead. And Luke likely would be looking to just extend that as high as he can, because there are a lot of hungry sharks chasing him for this championship this year. Including Bradley Bishop Jr. running in 2nd place. It's currently a Breeding Enterprises 1-2 with the 8 and the 88. So BBJ, no news yet on what BBJ will do for 2024. It was originally presumed that this was going to be a one-time season for Bradley. And then he would either jump back to Hardee's, or if he got the right offer, maybe a jump straight to Sony Cup. But so far, Bradley has just won the one race back at Daytona. And kind of been a shock that he has not gotten a road course win yet this year. Just one road course remains, and that is the Papyrus Motorsports Park track over in Massachusetts. I have to see if Bradley Bishop Jr. can get it done there, as that track is both a road course but also very aerodynamic based. But we're closing in on the 2nd round of pit stops here. And Bradley Bishop Jr. is in a great position here, running in 2nd place. Hearing the number 1 of William Brock's going to pit this time by. That's going to be a bit of a stretch. Not sure if he can make it 25 laps from here. But he's going to try. Gutierrez and Seth Cole actually have already come down. As Aiden Smith, Ben McDonald, Nelson Reeves, Benjamin Snyder, and Jerry Cook come down the pit lane as well. Oh, and a little contact there between the 98 and the 15. So this should be the first big group lap here on lap 46. And it looks like BBJ is going to be the first one down pit road, leading Siemba, Davidson, Jeff James, and AJ Jones. So big group down. Tib Foster, Jordan Fisher. Oh man, they are really weaving and dicing it up on the pit lane. As AJ Jones has door damage. There is damage on the right side door of AJ Jones. Where on earth did that come from? I wonder if that came from the last pit cycle. That is very curious. We'll have to see if they elect to fix it. Yeah, they're going to. They're going to fix his damage. And that's going to cost AJ Jones a ton of track position. He'll finally get out and away, but he is going to be last out of his group. As Luke Martin, Huck Davis, Austin Rogers, Blaze McKinney, Peter Onjak all down pit road. The Max is still yet to pit. And it's the Max, Griffin, Ellison, and JD Martin, the top four, that went another lap. They went 24-24. Actually, I think JD Martin technically went 25. As Anthony Marchese is coming down pit road, and I'm hearing it sputtering on the 83. So they really stretched it for him. These drivers likely will have the best tires on the track for the remainder of the race, as no one is going to need to come down pit road again. So this is what happened to AJ Jones back on the first pit cycle. Watch the 57 just came up and drove right into the right rear. And that gave AJ some considerable damage. Wow, that was... I don't know what Roberto had a run, I can see that. I don't know why he thought he needed to be that close to the 42, though. Just a misjudge, I guess. But that damage back on the first stop has now cost AJ a ton of track position on the second stop. Well, William Brock is gone from his undercut strategy up in the race lead. 3.5 seconds over Edward Siemba. But you really got to wonder if this one truck can stretch it 25 laps, considering he is currently leading the field with no draft. It was one thing for Marchese and JD Martin to do it on that last stint. They had draft, I think, the whole run. I mean, you'd be surprised how much draft saves fuel here. So we'll have to wait and see if the one of William Brock can make it on fuel, but I don't know how much of an advantage he's got here with the draft being so desirable at this racetrack. Once he gets swallowed up by the draft, better tires will also kind of prevail over the course of the run. Siemba currently leads the pack. Davidson and Bradley Bishop Jr. right behind him. And Blaze McKinney is in this group, and he is a notable driver to watch, as him and Luke Martin, they pit lap 47, along with Huck Davis, Nick Breeding, Austin Rogers, Aiden Carlton, and Peter Onjak. Those last three are nowhere near the front-running positions. But the 44, 28, 36, and 76 could be just as much of a threat to win this thing as the 8, 10, 56, and 27 are. The lead is down to 1.6 seconds, and it should be the matter of a lap or two here until Siemba closes in on the one of William Brock. 15 laps to go. The pack has caught William Brock, but it's Luke Martin making a move on Edward Siemba for second place. How about Arya Carmona in fourth, right behind here? What a strategy day for the 5 team. Carmona has not had the best of seasons. What about if Aria Carmona won this thing for Chevrolet? She is returning to S3 for next year. She'll be back in the 5. Jeff Bolton back in the 25. And Ricky Freeman Jr. will be in the 56. But Carmona did pit early. If a Chevrolet's gonna do it, I think it might have to be either the 10 of Ryan Griffin or the 56 of James Ellison. Luke Martin's move on Siemba did not pan out. Siemba has cleared back for second. Now Davidson up to third. McKinney in fourth. Mercedes looking for what would be its 5th win of the season. They have not won since Silver Fox won back at Richmond. So last 5 races, 3 wins from Ford and Coyote Autosport, a win by Angiato, and a win by Martin Motorsports. So Mercedes has not won in a bit. Heck, if we look at Ram has not won since Ace Wild won back at Atlanta. And then Chevrolet and Honda are winless on the season. And there is not a Honda in sight. So Siemba trying to get his first win of the year. He has looked strong here today at Michigan. But they are all chasing the one of William Brock, man. They caught him, but they have not been able to put a move on him. And now Blaze McKinney is up here fighting Siemba for second place. But look who's shown up is the number 8 of Eric the Max. Best tires on the track here along with the 10 and the 56, who are a couple truck lengths behind. Ooh, Bob Burns making it tight 4 wide back there behind. This has been a caution-free race. And now Eric the Max clears Edward Siemba for second place. But we've got another situation. The leaders are catching the lap trucks of Seth Cole and Angel Gutierrez. The Max with a big move, trying to make the top side work through 3 and 4. That hurt him instead. Now Huck Davis making a move on the inside 3 wide for second. 10 laps to go at the start-finish line. Can William Brock hold on, go back-to-back, and get his 4th win of the season? The lap trucks are side by side in front of them, which means they're getting no draft, and the leaders are going to close up big time. The Max is looking to make a move, but there's nowhere to go with the 08 in the way. Now Brock and the Max are both stuck behind lappers. Brock looking to the outside of Seth Cole. Nowhere to go. The Max now looking middle of Gutierrez. Now Brock to the middle. Brock goes by first. Now Siemba clears back into second. The Max and McKinney side by side for third. Huck Davis in 5th to the outside of Gutierrez. Siemba's going to make a move to the inside of William Brock for the race lead. The Max, does he go with him? No, the Max is looking to the middle. 3 wide for the race lead here with 8 to go. The Max getting a push from a fellow Ram driver in Huck Davis, and Eric the Max clears for the race lead. What a move for the Ram drivers. Davis, though, is not going to be able to get by the 80 or the 1. But that move and the help he gave Eric the Max has pushed Eric the Max to the race lead. And with 7 laps to go, you have to wonder, can Ryan Griffin or James Ellison, maybe even JD Martin, can they get up here to the top 5 and start racing the Max for the win? James Ellison looking for any hole he can get. Oh, J.D. Martin checked up in front of him, and they're in the wall. Bob Burns in the wall. Huge impact. Oh, and now Austin Rogers ran into J.D. Martin. Caution flag is out at Michigan. Oh, they're scattering. This is dangerous. Whoa. It looked like J.D. Martin checked up to start that. Ellison got right into him, turned him up the track into Bob Burns. Bob Burns is destroyed. And then Austin Rogers just haphazardly ran into the back of the 27. And with 5 to go, we have a caution. But this thing ain't over. We are likely going to be in store for a one-lap shootout. Now, if Eric DeMax doesn't get a good restart, he could be swallowed up right through turns 1 and 2. So this is going to be a big restart. Raise Up Award goes to the 98 of Seth Cole, so he will get back on the lead lap, but don't know if he can even make it on fuel. So things are about to get interesting. Taking another look at what happened. And it looks like JD kind of pulled up in front of Ellison and then checked up for the corner, and Ellison was there. And it just turns JD, and oh man, what a hit for Burns. It turned JD right up into Burns. And then it also puts Ellison in the outside wall. And that was a huge impact for the 70. And then up ahead, JD's getting past. Oh, JD turned down in front of him. JD turned down in front of Austin Rogers because he was trying to get to the apron. Oh my goodness. Oh, that might need some action. As that was kind of a dumb move on JD's part. To go on board with Bob Burns. And it just came out of nowhere. It was a tough break for Bob. He was having a great day in this race, man. Could have had more green flag laps to make this finish interesting, but it's going to come down to a one-lap shootout. Huck Davis has had his engine explode here under pacing. And from second place, Huck Davis was likely going to get a top 5. Maybe have a chance at the win. But the bad luck continues for the driver of the number 36. Talked about it early in the race. And Huck Davis just cannot catch a break. Next week we head to Memphis. Last short track race of the season. And we saw good speed from Huck at the Nashville Fairgrounds, so maybe he can show us a good race if he can qualify well. But just terrible luck for the driver of the 36. He is going to go down and finish in 41st place here this afternoon, and it's not going to show the pace that this truck had. Bit curious move here now. Second time by under caution was actually 2 laps ago. Or a lap ago, sorry. And Angel Gutierrez and Seth Cole have come to pit road. Now, Seth Cole has already been given his lap back. He waved around the field. Now he's coming back to pit road to fuel up. Which it is legal for him to pit. He got the Raise Up Award. Gutierrez will stay a lap down. But with the lights out on the pace truck and us coming to the one to go restart, I'm looking at the driver in 4th place of William Brock. William Brock pit one lap after Seth Cole and Gutierrez, as did Aiden Smith, Ben McDonald, Nelson Reeves, Benjamin Snyder, and Jerry Cook. Now, none of those 6 drivers pit under the caution. So I'm assuming they can make it. They've paced under caution. They've probably saved some of that fuel back. All they got to do is make it one lap around the track. They can run out coming to the start-finish line. So eyes are on the battle for the win here. Eric DeMax has not had good runs for Breeding. Can he make it a win here this afternoon? Or will Edward Siemba pounce and get his first win of the year? Green flag is back out. Great restart by Eric DeMax. Ryan Griffin's going to make a move on Siemba. No one's going with the 10. Everyone's staying with the 80. And that could seal it for Eric DeMax. Brock giving help to the 80 of Siemba is going to push himself by the 10 of Ryan Griffin. Through turns 3 and 4. Eric DeMax. William Brock's going to pit. Nelson Reeves is going to pit. But Eric DeMax gets the win here in the Irish Hills. He wins it at Michigan. And that gives Breeding Enterprises their second win on the season. And it's the first win for Ram since the Atlanta 150. Benjamin Snyder, Jerry Cook, William Brock, and Nelson Reeves all pit. The only ones that made it from that lap 45 group were Aiden Smith and Ben McDonald. So poor call on the strategy, and William Brock could have gained a ton of points, could have gained points on Luke Martin. Instead, he's going to finish 37th. Third career win for Eric DeMax here in the Napa Truck Series. That makes him the 9th driver to have won 3 races. So now he is tied 7th all time with Edward Siemba and Tib Foster. So 4th win for Ram on the year. So that puts Breeding Enterprises and Monster Energy Racing at 2 wins apiece on the season. Edward Siemba comes home second. Great day for him. Ryan Griffin, man. I think that's Griffin's best race since the Nashville Fairgrounds. He comes home third. How about Aria Carmona in 4th and Blaze McKinney in 5th? Historic milestone win, too, by the way, for Dodge Ram. It's their 25th win in series history. And Breeding gets win number 16, putting them just 3 wins away from tying Anjato for most in series history. Looking at the rest of the points drivers, Luke Martin in 6th, Bradley Bishop Jr. 7th, Nick Breeding comes home in 8th, Jeff James in 9th, Saden Davidson rounds out the top 10, Randy Riggs Jr. with a great day in 11th, Cody Goforth 12th, Aiden Smith 13th, Dewey Schramm the 3rd, 14th, Sean Ard 15th, James Ellison, Bradley Ream, Roberto Crown Jr., Jordan Fisher 19th in his first race back, and Blake Warren rounds out the top 20. What a weird top 20. I mean, very weird top 20, I have to say. I mean, the 76, the 04, the 5 up there in the top 5. And then you got the 35, the 89, 77, 12, 57. Man, all those drivers getting points. Look at this outside of the points. Ace Wild by 1 position. Tib Foster, 23rd. Lane Sanders, 25th. Marchese, 27th. Man, Marchese had the overcut, but he just was too far back to gain anything. A.J. Jones did get back up to 30th, but it doesn't matter because you don't get points. Malik Nevins, 31st. Seth Cole, 33rd on debut. He got the Raise Up Award, topped it off on fuel. A ton of people pit, and he gets 33rd. Not bad, I'd say, considering the amount of teams that have not scored points down there in the owner points. That's going to help the 98's Provo position out a decent bit. And then, man, J.D. Martin, good day gone bad. Nelson Reeves, William Brock, Huck Davis, and Bob Burns. So that's it for Michigan. I'll see you guys next time at Memphis. And Memphis will be our final short track race on the calendar. So we'll have to see how crazy it gets. I think last year, I forget if last year was the green flag race or if it was the year before that we had the green flag race. Not like start to finish, but like really good race. Anyway, that's all I got. So Eric the Max is your winner here in Michigan. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.